Hello to everybody joining me on this journey with this podcast. My name is Danny Moriarty. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing kind of a controversial topic, may cause a few arguments here and there. So I'm going to try my best not to add any bias or opinionated remarks. Today I'm going to be going into discrimination and unfairness. Between or targeted towards women and targeted towards the LGBTQ and plus community. Specifically towards women, I'm going to be going into reproductive rights. This could include abortion, contraception, sexual health, and reproductive autonomy. But I'm specifically going into abortion for the most part during this episode. For the LGBTQ community, I will be looking into unfair treatment from healthcare, as in healthcare is not accepting patients and their patients' needs. They're not performing what they're asking, and so that's causing issues. There are certain places in the United States that have different laws regarding both reproductive rights in women and healthcare with LGBTQ community. I think this is very important to acknowledge and talk about because a lot of people don't know the tragedies, the heartache, the mental health decline. I mean, the list goes on and on. Between the two of these topics that are kind of combining into one. But, I mean, people's lives are declining, and their bodies are physically declining as well, with not getting the right help that they're asking for. And so today, that's what I'm going to be talking about. The Center for Reproductive Rights has an article, and in this article, they discuss several cases, and they're just full of tragedies. There's a specific case in Tennessee where 7 women weren't allowed to have an abortion when they asked for one. They were told to either stay pregnant, carry out through their pregnancy, or they could travel someplace that will accept the care that they're asking for. The problem with this is some women have specific reasons, which I'm going to go into later, for wanting an abortion, which I think some reasons are more valid than others. And what I mean by that is, let's say you just don't want to raise the child. I don't know. I think you could still have the child and just, give it up for adoption. Whereas if something really bad happened to you and you have to get this baby out in order to keep yourself alive, I think that's a different situation to look at. But with this case, Nicole Blackmon was one of the 7 women, and she ended up losing the ability to become pregnant ever again. After the incident, it was announced that Tennessee doctors will not be punished for abortion when there are specific pregnancy complications, as well as with women with the fatal fetal diagnosis. And that's coming from the Center for Reproductive Rights from 2024. I think it's important to recognize what it took to get that far. It took a woman losing the ability to procreate ever again, to make it a law that this won't ever happen again. If there is situations where, this might affect the mother's health or the child's health, just any form of complication that will affect, mom or baby, and not being able to get that abortion, because I don't know exactly how old she was, but people never know how many kids they want until, they start growing up more and a future starts building up. So she didn't have that option to continue with that. There are countless cases involving women not being able to have the right access to care that they're asking for, which then often does lead to tragedies and sacrifices. Some laws, again, are different depending on where people live in the United States, but the vast majority won't perform an abortion if asked for no reason. There are some states that will perform an abortion if there are serious health complications. And then other reasonings in some states, you can get an abortion if you are a rape victim, but there are certain circumstances following that. Going along with abortion, I think it's important to also realize, kind of going back to the laws, there are certain laws in different states that, I think are truly ridiculous. An article from CBS News, which is called Rifts Widen in Arguments Over State Abortion Laws and Rape and Incest. This article explains a ban that is in Alabama. Performing an abortion at any stage of pregnancy would be a felony punishable up to 99 years or life in prison. This excludes exceptions where women's health is at serious risk. But this law does not exclude people who have been abused. And so I just think it's crazy that someone can spend up to 99, that's life, 99 years of life, in prison, locked up for trying to give a woman what she wants regarding her health, her reproductive health, her body. There are many reasons for wanting to have an abortion, and this is what I'm coming back to. Many examples, like I just mentioned, victims of rape. Many people may not be mentally stable enough, to raise or even just carry the child. They're also just, not wanting children or specific, issues with their partner, the father of the baby. There was a woman who was raped and able to get an abortion in Alabama. This is coming from CBS News 2019. And she states, "I knew I would not be emotionally or mentally or financially stable enough to give that child what they needed. And I didn't know how dangerous my rapist was at the time. I knew he would try to somehow stay in my life and use that child to control me. And the thought of those things, I'd rather be dead." So the act of rape can be a very, very traumatizing thing. Scratch that. It is a very traumatizing thing. Some people handle it differently, but I don't think a woman should be forced to carry a child that is from a rapist, just because, raising and holding that baby in a woman's stomach, they're going to constantly be reminded, who that father is and what happened. And, there are some women who can, turn that situation around and, they can create a good relationship with this child, but everyone reacts differently to everything, and you know, you never know what someone is going through and why they want an abortion, or why they want to choose a specific thing to do with their body or just in general. So that being said, I just think victims of rape should have the option, if wanted, to terminate the baby. Healthcare for people who identify as transgender is getting harder to obtain as well. It isn't just an abortion. The number of states banning gender-affirming care is rapidly increasing, as well as the anti-LGBTQ plus bills. It is really hard, specifically on minors, because they're making laws that are having like certain restrictions towards people who are 18 and or people who are younger than 18. Healthcare isn't allowing them to get certain surgeries or hormone therapy, which can lead to very, very bad consequences on them, specifically for their mental health. An article called Attacks on Gender Affirming and Transgender Healthcare by ACP states says, according to the Trevor Project 2023 National Survey on LGBTQ Youth Mental Health, 1 in 3 LGBTQ plus young people reported that their mental health is poor, most of the time or always, because of the anti-LGBTQ policies and legislation. I think this is important to recognize, because there are a lot of people out there who just know at a very early age that they're not in the right body. You know, they just don't feel right. They're not confident, and, you know, they believe they know who they want to be. They believe they know who they are already. And to deny them the access to do that, to start changing fully, I think just causes, bad consequences on their mental health. So I think, you know, just every day, different things are getting stripped away. Different rights from individuals are getting stripped away one by one. All that being said, this is getting kind of long, but the point of this was to give you guys some insight of why both of these things are so important to recognize, learn about, and to do something about. So, you know, me being a 21-year-old student, you know, who's in college, I can't go out there and change the world on my own, you know, just thinking realistically. I can make differences, though, and there are a couple things, just small things that can really impact something. Those being, you know, petitions and protests, you know, making a petition regarding women and reproductive rights, and one for the LGBTQ community in healthcare. Same thing for protesting, and protesting for the rights, and just, I think also posting on social media, you know, getting the word out there. I sometimes think unrealistically, but I think, you know, getting people who are well known, I don't want to say celebrities or famous people, but I guess, you know, that's kind of the idea, but well-known people who you know, have a good heart, and so I think having those kinds of people, you know, posting and reposting the protests and petitions and everything continuously will, you know, make it more heard, and, you know, it's getting every voice out there. So that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss in this episode. Just kind of recapping, I'm trying to stand up for these two topics, and just looking back, I think everybody needs to consider judging a person or denying a person before asking and finding out more details on their situation. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.